Jayalalitha, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, and she is still the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, is now inmate number 7402 at the Bangalore Central Prison. We're going to get you a live report on the very latest because just moments ago she was taken to her cell. T.S. Sudhir, Editor South, joins us live from Bangalore. Shrisha Reddy and Rohini Swami, my colleagues, live from Chennai, where there's been a lot of violence. In fact, Rohini was one of the journalists who was also attacked by people from the AIADMK earlier today, and our consulting editor with the India Today group, Rajdeep Sardesai, live with us from New York. We're going to get a perspective from him as well. It's a major blow to AIADMK chief Jayalalitha. A special court in Bangalore sentenced her and her 3 associates to 4 years imprisonment in the 66.65 crore rupee disproportionate assets case from 18 years ago. The court also slapped Jaya with a fine of 100 crore rupees. Protests by her supporters and clashes with rival DMK cadres were also reported throughout the day. We get you details of how these dramatic and rapid events unfolded. Watch this comprehensive report.
Trouble on the streets of Tamil Nadu. Protest and a political face-off bringing Jaya supporters and DMK men face to face. A crisis that many fear could get out of hand.
A clash between the ADMK and the DMK workers in Chennai after the verdict has come out in Jayalalitha's disproportionate assets case. Now that the DMK and the ADMK have been indulged in violence and they have been pelting stones at right outside the DMK chief corner, these residents.
It began with Jaya being convicted, jailed, fined 100 crore rupees. It was the culmination of a day of high drama. It all began with Jaya leaving for Bangalore at 9 a.m. She reached the court at 10:45 a.m. to cheers of her supporters. This was the time where her supporters were distributing sweets in anticipation of a favourable verdict. But then came the final blow. Jaya was held guilty and DMK broke into celebrations. AIADMK hit the streets in anger.
I can quickly show you what the scene is outside Jayalalitha's house in Poise Garden here. You can see here how slogans are being shouted that they feel that this was a political conspiracy against her, and supporters, the AIADMK cadre here in full force outside here.
As the verdict was read out, anticipating trouble, several private companies in Tamil Nadu declared a holiday. The shops down shutters and the news was delivered amid a partial media blackout. And then began the tense wait for the quantum of punishment. At 5 p.m, the court sealed Jaya's political fate. The only CM to be removed twice, Jaya was rushed to the hospital soon after being jailed. With Shrisha Reddy in Bangalore, Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
I want to go straight across first now to my colleague, Editor South, T.S. Sudhir, who's been reporting from early this morning through all the very, very dramatic and rapid developments. Also want to welcome on the show Sumant C. Raman, political analyst. He joins us live from the Jaipur studio this evening. Sudhir, I want to come to you first. Inmate number 7402 is the new identification, the new identity of Chief Minister Jayalalitha, larger than life in every respect, and now totally leveled, Sudhir, as a prisoner. Apparently, just moments ago, they've been shown to their cells where they will be served dinner. What's the very latest that you're hearing, Sudhir?
Well, yes, I mean, the lady who used to preside from Poise Garden in Chennai, from the Fort St. George in Chennai, now being actually an inmate, as you said, 7402 at the Bangalore Central Prison. One wonders if Jayalalitha had thought that this kind of a day she would actually see. But yes, in this particular case, one can say that justice delayed is not really justice denied. And that really was the overriding lesson that everyone was talking about there, right from the time that she arrived at that prison special court in Bangalore. till about 5 o'clock when the sentence was actually read out. There was a bit of pleading by her defense counsel to reduce the amount of fine 100 crore rupees, also to reduce the quantum of sentence from 4 years to less than 3 years. But obviously the judge wouldn't hear anything of that, and that was really the quantum of sentence which was delivered, 4 years to all the four of them. In fact, we are told that the 3 of them are lodged in the women's prison. The foster son Sudhakaran is in the men's cell, and yes, it's going to be the first night. It's going to be a difficult time for Jayalalitha, politically speaking, because it will be difficult to control the party from inside prison, despite the kind of party the AIDMK is.
Yes.
It's a completely one-woman show. But having said that, 4 years inside prison, if she does not get bail, is going to be a very, very long time.
Okay, let's go across to Srisha now to find out precisely what's going to happen, technically in terms of what the next steps are, in terms of process on the ground as far as the party is concerned. Srisha, you've been speaking to your sources in the AIADMK. The boss is in prison. The person who calls all the shots, the one point, a person from where all the orders emanate is now sitting behind bars. How is the AIADMK planning to move things forward now?
Well, Shiv, as Sudhir rightly pointed out, is one-man army. It's like Jayalalitha is AIDMK, and AIDMK is Jayalalitha. So the Iron Lady of Tamil Nadu is in prison. So now things will work only when Jayalalitha or the next in high command. So there is no clear on who is the second in command as far as the AIDMK is concerned. It's a party where when you talk about AIDMK, the one person who comes and who speaks on, as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, we do know that none of the AIDMK supporters or even none of the AIDMK ministers speak to the media. So it's only Jayalalitha. If she has to do it or nobody does it. So now Jayalalitha is in prison. So there are also reports that's been coming out that there might be a meeting with the MLAs in the city tomorrow. But on the other hand, as you also spoke about the violence, I should mention this. The whole city, the Chennai and also Tamil Nadu, it's very deserted, and you walk on the road, it's like a deserted look. And this has not happened in the recent past, even during the New Year celebrations, or even when there was a Section 144 that was imposed.
Yes.
The place was not like this. It's a deserted look. All the shops have down their shutters, and the schools have declared holiday for today. In fact, a Saturday being on, all the MNCs were also asked the employees to leave as soon as this verdict was out. So of course to avoid any sort of untoward incident, but as expected, on the expected lines, there was of course violence in the state. There was incidents of bus burning, there was incidents of stone pelting. So yes, of course these kind of incidents have been happening, and also the police are on the lookout for more such things tomorrow as well. So, and we do also know that the DMK chief has written to the Prime Minister and President to keep such things under control.
That's right.
Back to your Shiv.
Speaking about that violence that you just spoke about, Rohini, you and a few other journalists right outside Jayalalitha's residence in Chennai, did come under attack. Now, there are going to be concerns about whether adequate arrangements have been made, not just in Tamil Nadu, but also in Karnataka, to make sure that, there are no further reprisals. Are you hearing that there's enough security? Because there are several pockets where, violence is expected to erupt again.
Well, Shiv, if we had seen the way the situation was in Bangalore, especially around the court, it was a fortress. And also the Bangalore police had made it very clear that they had deployed enough personnel in pocket areas where there are a lot of Tamil-speaking people or Tamilians who live in Bangalore. So to see that once the verdict is out, that things don't go out of hand. And that was the law and order that was kept in place. We did not see too many issues coming out of the place. In terms of Tamil Nadu, yes, this is the place, the hotbed of all the problems that took place, because she is the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, and there would have been retaliation from here. We've seen how there were stone pelting incidences, there were a lot of incidents of violence coming from various parts of Tamil Nadu. But also in terms of the security cover, outside Poise Garden initially there was hardly any security cover, just the normal security cover that we would see. Once the things started, the issue came out and people understood that she is going to be convicted, or she was convicted, the cover did increase. The police personnel did come into picture. But let me also bring a point about the media attack, because that was the kind of way that the ADMK cadre wanted to vent out their anger. It just happened suddenly. They have been watching the media report from there, but they wanted to vent it out, and the punching bag turned out to be the media largely. But more importantly, the media also in its way have been trying to balance out their coverage to see how the ADMK cadre is reacting to Jayalalitha going to jail.
Well, and these are developments that are going to sort of spiral over the next few days. In fact, we had images a short while ago of AIADMK persons right outside the Bangalore Central Jail. Those emotional scenes sort of intensifying. But what about the politics? What about government? What next for Tamil Nadu? Rajdeep Sardesai is live with us from New York. Rajdeep, comeuppance for Amma after 18 long years in that that famous disproportionate assets case. It's not as if it was a bolt from the blue. This was a scheduled judgment that was going to come. It's, it was always going to be one way or the other. And it's, turned out to be the worst case scenario as far as Jayalalitha and the AIADMK is concerned. How do you read what happens next politically, Rajdeep, for Tamil Nadu and for the party?
First let me say, Shiv, it seems a bit strange discussing Tamil Nadu from here in Manhattan. I did it 3 days ago on Maharashtra, and now Tamil Nadu. It seems all the action is where you are, back home. While all of us are here in New York tracking Narendra Modi, the real political action is in India. But more seriously, Shiv, I think Jayalalitha is the cat who has lived 9 lives. I've heard Jayalalitha being written off much too often. Not the first time that she's gone to jail. If you might remember, several years ago, she went to jail in the Tansi case, and Paneer Selvan, her chosen man from the AIADMK, had become the chief minister then. So she's gone through this in the past and bounced back. Every time you write her off, Jayalalitha has this incredible knack of bouncing back, and I think that's because of the strength of the AIADMK cadres.
Yes.
At the end of the day, she is the supreme leader of the AIADMK. The cadres still remain firmly loyal to her. The options in a state like Tamil Nadu are more limited. Yes, if she is, and T.S. Sudhir made the point that if she doesn't get bail and she spends an extended period in jail, possibly one would argue that her grip over the party could lessen. But these thoughts have been made in the past, and Jayalalitha has disproved them time and again. So my sense is that while yes, this is undoubtedly a setback for Jayalalitha, I don't think you can write off her political career. Far from it. I do believe that she has the potential to bounce back. If Lalu Prasad, who frankly was a weakened political leader a year ago, went to jail and then bounces back in by-election results, there's no reason why Jayalalitha won't bounce back. The problem she has is that compared to 15 years ago, the laws are much tougher. The public outrage against a politician who's jailed is that much more. And therefore, she faces, in a sense, perhaps a tougher road back. Particularly after the law now says immediately that you're convicted, you've got to give up office. So I think she faces a tougher road, but I don't write her off. I do believe that in the near term, she will continue to control the AIADMK, and she will appoint someone who's seen as a puppet chief minister while she's in jail. So I think as Mark Twain would have said, reports of the demise of Jayalalitha would be grossly exaggerated. I don't believe that Jayalalitha is out. She's down as a result of this verdict, but she's certainly not out, Shiv.
Okay, down but not out. A big setback for Jayalalitha. Shockwaves right across the country, but you cannot write her off just yet. She's Bangalore Central Prison inmate number 7402. No longer just the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. What a fall for Jayalalitha. An 18-year corruption case, disproportionate assets, and it's 4 years in prison for the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, a woman with a larger-than-life image, not just in Tamil Nadu, but across the country. But the first crisis that Jayalalitha's AIADMK will have to ponder over, and is no doubt confabulating right now, is picking her successor. How will it really do that? Is the party even engineered to make a decision of that kind without Jayalalitha at the helm? She's the boss. She's the undisputed leader of the party. Is there anybody else who can take decisions like that? Like Rajdeep Sardesai just pointed out, this isn't the first time that Jayalalitha has been to jail. There has been a stand-in chief minister, Paneer Selvan, in the past as well. How is it going to work out this time? I want to quickly bring in political analyst Sumant C. Raman joining us from our Jaipur studio for a perspective on this. Sumant, how do you see this playing out for the AIADMK at this time? What next for the party? They did something similar 15 years ago, but as Rajdeep pointed out, that was quite different in many respects. The circumstances were different as well. How are you reading what will happen now?
Well, one thing that we need to remember is that Ms. Jayalalitha is an extremely meticulous person. So this would have been planned. She would have anticipated a plan A, a possibility of an acquittal, a possibility of a conviction. all of this would have been thought through. What we're going to see happen is very clear. Over tomorrow, I would expect that these sporadic emotional outbursts would subside. The party would pull together. There would be a meeting and a hand-picked nominee, right, whether it is Mr. Pannirselvam himself again or somebody else would be appointed in Jayalalitha's place over the next couple of days. And I think that thereafter, obviously on a parallel track, the bail application would be moved, and also the plan of appealing to the Karnataka High Court would also happen in parallel. So I think that we have to understand that this is not something which Ms. Jayalalitha would not have thought of at all. So it's not like, the party would be in disarray. That's not the case at all. It's just that there has been an emotional outburst which is quite natural. And I think we have to understand that there's been a huge sympathy wave across the state in favor of Ms. Jayalalitha because of this judgment. I know that, whether it's right or wrong, that's a different issue. But at this point of time, there is a huge sympathy wave. There have been people who are talking on the streets of Tamil Nadu. The sentiment is overwhelmingly in support of her. And I think we have to understand that tomorrow we're going to be seeing, over the next couple of days, we're going to be seeing a very orderly transition. And thereafter, she will continue to call the shots. She will continue to be in charge of the things because the elections are still almost 2 years, little less than 2 years away. So I don't believe that there's going to be, any kind of chaos or any kind of confusion. There has been an emotional reaction, which is very natural. And tomorrow, I think you will see that.
Okay, so you're saying that it will be an orderly transition and that she will continue to call the shots. One thing's for certain.
Yeah, and I just also want to counter one point which Rajdeep made.
Very quickly, in 10 seconds.
If she continues to remain in prison, what would happen to the party? Would there be dissonance? In the AIADMK, there is only one leader. The question of any of the others aspiring for a role simply does not arise. So the question of even if she were to spend a slightly longer period in prison, it will not in any way create any kind of dissidence in the party or a challenge to her leadership. There may be factional feuds between the leaders themselves, but not certainly questioning her leadership.
Well, one thing is for certain. There may be an orderly transition within the AIADMK, but it's going to be a point of concern for the party if Jayalalitha has to spend an extended period in jail. One thing's also for sure that it's going to be a very busy weekend. T.S. Sudhir, Srisha Reddy and Rohini Swami are going to continue to track the story very closely over the weekend and all of next week. It's going to continue to be a talking point. Suman C. Raman, thank you very much for joining us. And also to Rajdeep Sardesai, given how much you love covering politics here, Rajdeep, I'm sure you're not going to have a problem keeping one eye on what's happening there in New York and what's happening here. As you said, there's so much happening here ever since this visit actually began. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Rajdeep, quickly,
Shiv, just a quick final word. I think in New York we are stuck doing the photo ops while the real action is taking place in Chennai and Mumbai. I think, we're all running after photo ops of Narendra Modi. That's our news at the moment. The real news is in India. And that's the way India is. Far more exciting at times than New York can be when it comes to news. That's why we have more news channels in India than in the United States.
Okay, that's a great point to end on. Photo ops there. The real news is happening here. We're going to be covering both definitely. Thanks very much, Rajdeep.